There is a world hidden from our view. It is a world of whispers and secrets. It operates in the dark spaces between nations. This is the world of espionage. It is a place of great danger and even greater lies. Spies are the soldiers in this secret war. They fight with information, not with guns. They use their minds as their most powerful weapons. Their battles are fought in quiet rooms. Their battles are fought along dark streets. Their victories and defeats are rarely known to the public. But they can change the course of history forever. These agents live double lives, pretending to be someone they are not. Every conversation is a test. Every friendship is a potential trap. Their friends might be enemies. Their enemies might be pretending to be friends. This constant deception takes a heavy toll. A single mistake can mean failure. It can mean capture. It can mean torture. It can mean death. The pressure is immense. The stakes are impossibly high. The fate of armies and the future of countries can rest on a single piece of information. A message passed in secret. A photograph taken in the dead of night. A code broken just in time. These are the tools of their trade. In this hidden war, the greatest spies are masters of illusion. They create false realities. They build networks of agents who do not even exist. They feed their enemies a steady diet of lies. They become so convincing that even their own handlers can sometimes wonder who they truly are. They play a long game, a careful game of chess where the pieces are human lives. They must anticipate their opponent's every move. They must be patient and wait for the perfect moment to strike. Their work is a delicate dance on a knife's edge, where one wrong step leads to disaster. This essay will pull back the curtain on this secret world. We will explore the lives of 4 real spies who became legends. They fooled powerful governments. They tricked entire armies. They altered the outcomes of major wars and shaped the political landscape of the 20th century. Their stories are more dramatic than any fiction. Incredible bravery, stunning deception, profound sacrifice. Juan Pujol Garcia was an unlikely spy. He was a chicken farmer from Spain. He was a failed hotel manager. He hated war and politics, especially the fascism sweeping across Europe. He wanted to do something to stop it. He decided he would become a spy for the British. They rejected him. They did not trust him. They thought he was strange and unqualified. Pujol hatched a new plan. If Britain wouldn't hire him, he'd trick the Germans first. He would become their best spy, while secretly working for the Allies. He went to Madrid and approached the German embassy. The Germans believed him. They gave him the code name Arabelle and a crash course in espionage. Invisible ink, cash, orders to go to Britain and build a network. Pujol never went to Britain. He went to Lisbon instead. In a tiny apartment, he set up map of England, tourist guidebook, train schedule. From that room, he would create a fantasy world. From Lisbon, he began sending reports. He invented a network of spies inside Britain. He gave them names and personalities. Disgruntled sailor, talkative government clerk, Welsh nationalist. He made them all up. He used the guidebook to describe places he'd never seen. He used the train schedule to explain movements. His reports were detailed and convincing. The Germans were thrilled. They treated Arabelle as their top agent. They sent more money and glowing praise. They had no idea he wasn't even in Britain. Pujol's lies were sometimes clumsy, like Glasgow and the liter of wine. He got British currency wrong. Still, the Germans overlooked it. They trusted him completely. He became a one-man spy agency, a phantom creating an army of phantoms. His imaginary network grew to 27 agents, all figments of his creative mind. It was dangerous, but it worked. Soon, the British would finally take notice of the man they had once turned away. The British finally realized what Pujol was doing. They intercepted his messages to the Germans. They were stunned. This one man in Lisbon was running a massive deception all by himself. They brought him to London in 1942. They gave him a new code name, Garbo, named after the famous actress, because he was such a good actor. With MI5's full support, his imaginary spy network became an official weapon of war. The British helped him make his stories more believable. They fed him real but harmless information to pass to the Germans. Garbo's greatest performance was yet to come. It became the centerpiece of Operation Fortitude. The Allies wanted the Germans to think the invasion would hit Pas-de-Calais, not Normandy. So Germany's best units would be kept away from the real beaches. Garbo was the key. He and his fake agents began sending a flood of reports. They described a massive army gathering in southeast England, preparing to cross the narrowest part of the English Channel. That phantom force was called the 1st United States Army Group. It was entirely fake. To support the deception, the Allies built a ghost army, inflatable tanks, wooden airplanes, fake radio signals. From afar, it looked like a real invasion force. Garbo's reports gave that phantom army life. He reported division movements. He described speeches by General George S. Patton. The Germans swallowed the story whole. They were convinced Pas-de-Calais was the true target. They trusted Garbo completely. Even after the D-Day landings began in Normandy on June 6, 1944, Garbo's work continued. On D-Day, he sent a message to his German handlers. He said the Normandy invasion was a diversion, a trick to draw forces away from Pas-de-Calais. Adolf Hitler believed the lie. He ordered panzer divisions to hold and wait at Calais. That decision was disastrous for the Germans. It bought the Allies time to secure a Normandy foothold. Garbo, the man who made up stories, helped save thousands and ensured the invasion's success. Richard Sorge was a man of many faces. To the world, he was a charismatic German journalist. He was a member of the Nazi Party. He was a charming man. He loved fast cars. He loved beautiful women. He moved easily in the highest circles of power in Tokyo. He was a trusted friend of the German ambassador, Eugen Ott. But this was all a carefully constructed mask. In reality, Richard Sorge was a dedicated communist. He was a brilliant and ruthless spy for the Soviet Union. His mission was to uncover the secrets of Germany. His mission was to uncover the secrets of Japan. He was playing the most dangerous game of his life. Sorge was born in Russia. His father was German. His mother was Russian. He was wounded fighting for Germany in World War I. The horrors of the war turned him into a passionate communist. He joined Soviet military intelligence, the GRU. They saw his potential. He was intelligent. He was charming. He looked like the perfect Aryan German. In 1933, they sent him to Tokyo. His cover was perfect. As a journalist for a German newspaper, he had a reason to ask questions and meet important people. He quickly worked his way into the heart of the German embassy. He gained the complete trust of Ambassador Ott. Sorge built a small, highly effective spy ring in Tokyo. His team included a Japanese journalist. His team included an artist. Both had access to powerful government officials. Sorge became the unofficial advisor to the German ambassador. He was given access to secret cables and diplomatic reports. He even wrote some of the ambassador's reports back to Berlin. They had no idea every secret he learned was being sent to Moscow. He was a fox guarding the henhouse. In the spring of 1941, Richard Sorge uncovered the most important secret of his career. Through contacts at the German embassy, he learned Adolf Hitler was planning a surprise invasion of the Soviet Union. He learned the code name, Operation Barbarossa. He learned the exact date, June 22, 1941, intelligence that could save the Soviet Union. Sorge immediately sent urgent warnings to Moscow. He risked everything to get the message through. In Moscow, Joseph Stalin refused to believe it. Stalin was deeply paranoid. He trusted no one, not even his spies. He thought it was a trick. He suspected British disinformation. Stalin had signed a non-aggression pact with Hitler. He could not accept betrayal. So he ignored the warnings. He dismissed his best spy's intelligence. The country was left exposed. On June 22, 1941, Sorge was proven right. Millions of German soldiers crossed the border. The Red Army was caught by surprise. The initial weeks were catastrophic. Vast territories and millions of soldiers were lost. Stalin's refusal had a terrible cost. Sorge needed one more answer. Would Japan attack from the east? Sorge used the German ambassador to find out. Japan decided not to attack the Soviet Union. Their focus was southward, Southeast Asia, the Pacific. That meant conflict with the United States. Sorge sent the vital message. This time Stalin listened. Elite Siberian divisions moved west. Battle-hardened troops arrived to defend Moscow. The tide on the Eastern Front turned. Sorge's intelligence had saved his country. They were the perfect Englishmen. They were educated at Cambridge University, one of the most prestigious schools in the world. They came from the upper class. They were charming. They were intelligent. They were well-connected. Kim Philby, Donald MacLean, Guy Burgess, Anthony Blunt, John Cairncross. To everyone who knew them, they were the future leaders of Britain. They were destined for great careers in government, diplomacy, intelligence. But they all shared a dark and powerful secret. While at Cambridge in the 1930s, they had become communists. They had been recruited as spies for the Soviet Union. Their ideology was born from the turmoil of their time. They saw the rise of fascism in Europe. They saw the poverty caused by the Great Depression. They believed that capitalism had failed. They looked to the Soviet Union as the only hope for a better, more equal world. A Soviet handler, known as a talent spotter, identified them as young men with brilliant futures. He convinced them they could do more for communism not by protesting in the streets, but by joining the very system they despised. They were told to hide their true beliefs. They were to climb the ladder of the British establishment and become spies at the very top. And so they did. Their privileged backgrounds gave them the perfect cover. No one would ever suspect these polished gentlemen of being traitors. Kim Philby joined MI6, Britain's Foreign Intelligence Service. He eventually became head of the section responsible for catching Soviet spies. He was a spy hunter who was himself a spy. Donald MacLean joined the Foreign Office and became a high-ranking diplomat. Guy Burgess joined the Foreign Office and became a high-ranking diplomat. Anthony Blunt became an art historian and worked for the Queen. He also served in MI5, the Domestic Security Service. John Cairncross worked in several key government departments. For decades, they operated undetected. They were a spy ring at the very heart of the British government. They passed a staggering amount of secret information to their handlers in Moscow. They handed over diplomatic cables, military plans, scientific secrets. They revealed the identities of British agents, sending many of them to their deaths. They were more successful than the Soviets could have ever dreamed. The downfall of the Cambridge Five began slowly. After World War II, American codebreakers started to unravel old Soviet messages. They found evidence of a high-level mole inside the British embassy in Washington. The evidence pointed directly at Donald MacLean. Kim Philby, his friend and fellow spy, was put in charge of the investigation. It was a classic case of the fox guarding the henhouse. Philby managed to delay the investigation. He arranged for another member of the ring, Guy Burgess, to warn MacLean. In 1951, just as the net was about to close, MacLean fled London. In 1951, just as the net was about to close, Burgess fled London. They dramatically defected to the Soviet Union. Their disappearance caused a massive scandal. It confirmed that there were traitors at the top of the British government. Suspicion immediately fell on Kim Philby. He was the third man who had tipped them off. He was a close friend of Burgess. The evidence against him was strong. But it was not conclusive. When MI6 interrogated him, Philby calmly denied everything. He was a master of deceit. He looked his friends and colleagues in the eye and lied with incredible confidence. His performance was so convincing that many people believed him. He was forced to resign from MI6, but he avoided being charged with treason. For years, Philby lived under a cloud of suspicion. Then, in 1963, new evidence emerged that proved his guilt beyond any doubt. Nicholas Elliott was sent to Beirut. Philby was working there as a journalist. Elliott confronted Philby with the new evidence. For the first time, Philby's composure cracked. He confessed to everything. But before he could be arrested, he vanished. He had slipped away and boarded a Soviet freighter bound for Russia. The most damaging double agent in British history had escaped. Eli Cohen was born in Egypt. He was a devoted Zionist. He was a passionate believer in the state of Israel. He tried to join Mossad and was rejected twice. They thought he was too risky. He was persistent. In 1960, Mossad took a chance on him. He was a gifted actor. He spoke fluent Arabic with a perfect Syrian accent. Mossad created a new identity, Kamal Amin Thabet, a wealthy Syrian businessman returning from Argentina. He spent a year in Argentina building his cover. He ingratiated himself with the Syrian community in Buenos Aires. He became known as a lavish spender. He became known as a charming host. He became known as a passionate Syrian patriot. He threw extravagant parties. He connected with powerful Syrian diplomats. He connected with military officials. Powerful friends waited when he moved to Syria. In 1962, he arrived in Damascus. He was welcomed into Syria's highest circles. He rented a luxury apartment opposite Syrian Army HQ. From his window, he watched top military leaders. He continued hosting lavish parties. Government ministers attended. Army generals attended. Powerful businessmen attended. Guests enjoyed his food. Guests enjoyed his wine. They trusted him. They saw him as a friend. They saw him as a patriot. They had no idea he was an Israeli spy. As Kamal, he gained unprecedented access to Syrian secrets. His new friends loved to talk. They boasted about military plans. They boasted about secret weapons. Cohen listened closely and remembered every detail. He took generals on tours of the Syrian border. They showed him secret fortifications in the Golan Heights. Cohen suggested planting eucalyptus trees for shade near bunkers. The Syrians liked the idea. They didn't realize the trees revealed the hidden positions to Israel. Eli Cohen's espionage came to a sudden and brutal end. Every morning, at the same time, he sent his secret reports to Israel. He used a hidden radio transmitter, but the new head of Syrian intelligence was hunting for a mole. He ordered radio silence across Damascus to track down the illegal signal. In January 1965, Syrian agents burst into Cohen's apartment. They caught him in the act of sending a message. His life as Kamal Amin Thabet was over. He was brutally interrogated and tortured, but he revealed nothing. He was put on a public trial and sentenced to death. On May 18, 1965, Eli Cohen was hanged in a public square in Damascus. Though his life was cut short, Cohen's work had a profound impact. The intelligence he gathered was invaluable. His detailed information about the Syrian fortifications in the Golan Heights was critical. 2 years later, during the Six-Day War in 1967, the Israeli Air Force used his intelligence to destroy Syrian bunkers. The eucalyptus trees he had suggested planting served as perfect targeting markers. Israel captured the Golan Heights in just 2 days, a victory made far easier by Cohen's bravery. He became a national hero in Israel, a symbol of ultimate sacrifice. The stories of Juan Pujol Garcia, Richard Sorge, the Cambridge Five, Eli Cohen. These individuals operated in a realm of profound deception, where truth was a weapon and identity was a mask. They were actors on a global stage, playing roles that determined the fate of nations. Garbo's Phantom Army saved D-Day. Sorge's warnings changed the course of the war on the Eastern Front. The Cambridge Five's betrayal revealed deep vulnerabilities in the West. Cohen's sacrifice secured a vital border for his country. They were not kings or generals, but their actions had consequences as great as any battle. The world of espionage continues today, quieter and more technologically advanced, but just as critical. It is a world of shadows, a silent, unending war fought by men and women whose names we will never know. Their stories teach us that history is not always made in the open. It is written in invisible ink, passed in whispers, and carried by those willing to live a lie for a cause. These spies show that a single person, armed with a powerful secret, can change the world forever.